right, Evan Ginzburg back with another edition of Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV, and we are joined by my very special co-host, Sissy Gamache, John Winnell, and we have a very special show today. We have hip-hop artist Hired Gun. We have WWE writer Bryan Salomon, so this should be a great episode of Legends TV. And Sissy, what's been doing with you with the Sissy Gamache show?
Busy. Yeah, busy. As last night, I was with filmmaker, actor, producer Carmine Familiari. We had a good conversation. You know, I think it's important to support all the filmmakers, independent filmmakers.
Absolutely.
Right, because it's so hard. Like, everybody wants to break in, but everybody got their own voice. So we were talking about his projects. I think he's an amazing writer. And he was sharing his experience as a writer, screenwriter.
What are some of the films that
Pounds, there's a movie that he did a few years ago.
That, yeah.
Have you seen it?
I love the movie.
It was nominated the Spirits Awards.
Okay.
And he's been around for quite some time. And now he's developing another, like a reality show. And he's pretty good. I mean, we were laughing for an entire hour, Evan. I couldn't believe it. We couldn't stop talking.
And tell the viewers where they could see the Sissy Gamache show.
Every Friday night, channel 56, 7:30 p.m. And you can just see us online. You just go to the website, go to mnn.org, go to the Sissy Gamache, and everybody can see us. I tell you, it is exciting to go live.
Oh, yeah.
It's irreplaceable.
This is live.
I know.
Things do go right, things do go wrong.
And when things go wrong, you just want to die.
And this is like the 1950s in TV when you would have these incredible actors and directors, but you had tech issues on occasion. But
that's the challenge, Evan. When something goes wrong, you have to be able to pull it off. You have to be able to have fun.
You have to roll with it.
And you got to roll with it, because you know what? Perfection doesn't exist.
Some of those live shows from the 50s, some of them was saved. I think Gleason saved everything, but I don't know if all the Sid Caesar shows are saved.
Wow.
And some of the other ones have not.
What a shame. What a
yeah,
shame.
I mean, those are...
And Caesar passed recently.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, one of the all-time greats.
He was a funny guy. I loved him in Grease.
Okay.
I know that's kind of late because he was already old back then, but I had so much fun. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
And speaking of live TV, why don't we see this clip of Sissy Gamache in action right here, folks. Enjoy.
Okay, good evening. Oh my God, I was waiting for the opening, but I guess they threw me off a little bit. Anything can happen on TV, guys. Anything is possible here, but we're here. I'm not panicking. I am in control. Okay? I'm so happy, so thrilled to have my special guest tonight, Mr. Joe Franklin, the man of the hour. I'm honored.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
You're looking beautiful. Your skin, perfect. No wrinkles. Look at that skin.
I just met a man, he told me, he says he was watching Channel 13 last night, and he saw a cavalcade of talk show hosts. And he saw Johnny Carson, Steve Allen, Merv Griffin, Joey Bishop, Mike Douglas, but no Joe Franklin. So you know what I said? There's only one difference. They were all dead. I'm still walking and talking, right? I'm still walking and talking. So.
And Mr. George Santana.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you very much for coming by. I hit your arm. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
You're a good man.
That's okay.
Great
you
actor.
look young.
Great actor.
Great actor. A great actor. I can see it right in your face. You can see talent. I can see it and I can smell it too. Let me fix your tie.
Oh, thank you.
Hold on for a second.
But he still helps a lot of people. He's
I know,
a great
he's
man.
the best. He's the best. I want to show the other clip before we bring them in. Mr. Jay Leno, Gloria Messer. I'm running again at a time, baby girl. If you can show me that clip, because you need to rock my world. Okay, we need Jay Leno in the house.
He was my anchor man many times, Jay Leno.
He was?
You know, he'll be on my show again. And he's coming on my radio show in about a month.
Is he? Oh my God, he's so good. He's so talented.
He really
Where's
is.
the clip? We're showing for the clip. We're killing time. We got 10 minutes to go. We're still killing time.
He's the best.
Why is the camera still on me? I want to get out of the camera. Hold on. What do you want?
I want to keep building on what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been working with The Storm for about 7-8 years now.
Tonight I have a very special guest, a very dear friend of mine, somebody that I admire deeply. This is a very, very gifted actor, member of the Actor Studio, a man, a director, a creator, a producer, Mr. Anton Pagan. Good evening, everybody. As always, I'm always so happy to be back. I was checking my mic because I have my mic right behind my butt, and It's like, no, my concentration went off because I feel that it's going to drop any time. And I don't want that. But anyway, today is what? June 4th, 2010. And I got a little tan going on. I'm not bragging. I'm Superwoman. Let me fix my hair. Okay, we're ready to go. All right. My guest is the man of the hour, Mr. Keith Varney. You know, I was like, oh, God, Michael. You know, it's like, I know his work at the Actors Studio. He's a very devoted actor, very committed, very talented. And, you know, I was very thrilled to see his work.
All right, and we are back. And what's it like interviewing a legendary interviewer in Joe Franklin? That must be stressful.
Joe Franklin, he's a sweet man. You know what I like about him, Evan? Like you. You guys are very talented. You're born to do this. You're born to be in front of the camera. You're born to be live. You're likable. You're sociable. You're smart, sharp, and funny.
Thank you.
So don't get too cocky.
My press agent.
I am your press agent because he's very down to earth.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Joe Franklin doesn't take himself so damn seriously.
Right.
And I love that. I think that I like to see talented. I like to see the talent bigger than your ego.
Do you ever just cringe when somebody says, I'm an artist?
Yeah.
It's like, we know you're an artist. If you're good enough, we know it. You don't have to announce
Right.
it, right?
Let the work do the
Exactly.
talking.
Exactly.
Right, John?
Speaking of great artists, we're going to hear John later with a live poetry
How
set.
kind, yes. Yeah, we're gonna do our thing, and great artists. I have my Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
I
was
just
going
assumed
to
that
bring
was a
that up.
wrestler. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Maybe there should be a wrestler in the guise of Edgar Allan Poe. Could come out with a hatchet and
That's
a
right.
cat and
That's right.
a raven kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What I would like to do, and this is thinking out loud, Evan, is to make all these writers to bringing more to the audience. You understand? Because writers seem to be a little bit, correct me if I'm mistaken, a little bit inaccessible, a little out there. Charles Dickens, Poe. Am I right?
A lot of writers don't know how to promote themselves.
They really don't.
Every comedian, every top comedian in the world has a podcast at this point, or a internet radio show, but a lot of writers don't know how to promote themselves, and it's too bad. It really is, because the art should be out there.
It's about business and about networking, right?
A lot of the entertainment business, of course the writing business, is about networking, and it's unfortunate because sometimes great talents never get discovered, and sometimes mediocrities network their way to the top.
Right.
And,
Yeah, you flip the channels, Evan, and you see a lot of junk out there.
oh yeah, there's 1,000 channels and probably 980 of them are garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have very little patience with television.
Yeah. But that's the only way to learn, to watch a lot of TV when you have a time.
Well, you should
Okay.
watch internet TV.
Internet,
right,
that's the
internet.
Madhouse
future.
TV.
That's
right.
what I'm talking
That's
about.
what we'll learn, or they'll learn. The public will learn.
I love the
And
couch.
to read. I don't know.
I can take a little nap here. Just gonna lay down.
You match with the couch.
I am
That's
not.
it.
I can blend in. I can just go like that. And
Yeah.
you know what
She's our show Cheshire Cat.
You know, yeah, I'm like a little kitty. You know what I like? Because it makes the guests really comfortable. Like you can just have a little drink, a little joint, and that's it. I don't smoke. I'm just kidding.
There you go.
Okay?
That's okay. For all you kids out there.
For all the
that's
kids
right.
out there, no. Don't get high,
So
please.
since you mentioned that, your husband, Joey Gamache, is a legendary boxer and trainer.
Yes.
What's his take on smoking weed or...
He doesn't like it. He's not. My husband is very clean in that end. It's not about judging or making judgments.
Not at all. I'm
he's-
just curious as a trainer.
He doesn't. No, he's very strict in that end. When you're fighting, when you're boxing, when you're training, when you're running, you have to be clean, because pot is going to make you slow. Number one, it's going to make you slow.
Right.
Number two, it kills the cells in your brain. Okay, so I seen a documentary about pot last night on HBO, because now it's legal in so many states. So obviously, these people are making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and a lot of the transactions basically are paid with cash, not credit cards. So they have all kinds of security guys, because it's more money coming, is the cash flowing. But no, he doesn't. He's not much into any
I
of
would
those
think for an
drugs.
athlete, I mean, it would slow down lung capacity. And
Yeah, he's very strict. Joe
But
is
it
very
might
strict.
relax them.
That's
Yeah.
true, too. I mean,
Anyway.
I don't know. I think otherwise we can be loaded up with problems, and sometimes you need to just ease the pain a little bit. Don't think about the past and just be present. And I guess that pot helps you to just get in the right mood,
Okay.
right? But it's not my thing.
Anyway, folks, we're going to be right back after a brief timeout. Why don't you give out your contact information?
Okay, guys, you're more than welcome to see the show on Channel 56, MNN, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And I come here with Mr. Evan Ginzburgs once a month, which is a privilege, because I love to come here. And you can check us online. You can Google the name. You can go to Facebook. I don't have a Twitter account yet, but I'm working on it.
Okay, and John?
Yeah, it's basically, if you're interested in the book or the manuscript, it's John, JONWINELL, John Winnell at yahoo.com, and I'm also on Facebook. You could post comments, likes, dislikes. If you're interested in the book, contact me, and I will get back to whomever.
There you go. And we will have a live set of poetry from John later,
Thank you.
as well as a musical set from Hired Gun. And we will
quite
be
a
right
name.
back with the Hired Gun indie hip-hop great in just one moment. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with Legends TV, and we are honored to have a tremendous hip-hop artist, and educator, and cultural ambassador. He is the Hired Gun. How are you tonight, sir?
Hey, thank you very much for having me. I'm great.
There you go, there you go. And you're from, obviously, the context clues tell me Brooklyn's in the house.
Representing
there
Brooklyn,
you go.
Flatbush.
There you go.
Representing Brooklyn, yeah.
So tell us a little about yourself. You've traveled the world with your art.
Yeah, well, so originally I'm from New Jersey, and I've been in Brooklyn for like the last 15 years. But yeah, a hip hop artist and MC that came to New York, and currently, actually, in about a week, I'm leaving with my band Nomadic Wax Collective. We're going to be on an ambassador missions tour. But everything started for me when I was in high school, just working with a band that I used to have called Fute and Reality, and came to New York to just do the music, and I've been doing it since about 2000.
There you go. There you go. And what we're going to do before we really get deeper into the conversation is see a little clip of yours, get a feel of the music of Hired Gun. Enjoy, folks.
No clip? Which clip?
You having some tech issues?
Yeah, he said that.
Anyway.
Okay.
So while we're waiting for the clip to load up,
Right.
live TV, as we were saying, right?
Yes,
Sissy?
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's when the challenge takes place.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's cool.
You
We'll
roll,
keep rolling.
you roll with the punches.
Yeah, normally I'd have a beatbox just to start freestyle and just
And
kill some
there
time.
it is. And then you're waiting for the cue and then it
There
doesn't
you go.
come. But now we're
So
going.
we are back with the Hired Gun video.
Four dead and 6 on the ground. Survived another crazy day in this town. Hear motors racing, so you hit the ground fast. Do what you can to make your life last. It is not Afghanistan. No, it isn't Pakistan. You can't put this one on the Taliban. It's Chicago. And the street blood is flowing, and the death toll is growing. When the city keep blowing people away. I had a buddy made it back from Iraq. Died in the street because he made eye contact. This game of murder has become all the craze, played out by young men who were never raised. It won't be listed in the history books beside the tragedy of Sandy Hook. Could it be because of how they look in Chicago? And the street blood is flowing, and the death toll is growing. When the city keep blowing people away. Turned to look, but all their eyes were blind. Performed the study, but all they could find more speakers hanging on the telephone line in Chicago. Oh my! And the street blood is flowing, and the death toll is growing. When the city keep blowing, your people away are lost, and the street blood is flowing, and the death toll keep growing. When the city is blowing, blowing, your people away. Oh.
rare sign, forged with an iron pride. I am alive but no more resides the boy inside. My joy still hides behind the midnight sun, a reflection of the one on its own, it cannot shine. Sometimes I'm asinine, alkaline and unaligned. Sometimes I shift your paradigm, embodying divine. Sometimes I'm inclined to recline and remind you that I cannot read your mind. My third eye is seeing blind, the words strive to free me. Most times I'm left behind, the drum begins to hum within the soul, twisting in the wind. So when did this begin, and will it ever end? Eternal pain I won't share with my next of kin. And the lesson should then lessen the stress, and maybe buy me some rest, but keep failing the test. I feel the old cold stuck on my chest, say I'm trying my best, but I'm destined depressed inside a midnight sun. And the lesson should then lessen the stress, and maybe buy me some rest, but keep failing the test. I feel the old cold stuck on my chest, say I'm trying my best, but I'm destined depressed inside a midnight sun. Thought I was chosen, I just chose a path picked to do it. Did calculations, but forgot that I'm bad at math. I see I'm just a piece, but won't receive none. There's no relief. Been told that if I want it, then to just believe. Trust gets up to leave. It's hurt enough, the tough got going. Just another fairy tale when I was growing up. Told to every male, a story old as life itself. I'm losing life, lost my wife, there's no one to help. They call this living hell, to most I'm living well. They didn't know my soul lives inside a sleeper cell. The bold veneer you hear really keeps the secret. Just come and scratch the surface and watch me fall beneath it. The sum total of a broken home, nothing works in the dark and hurt, nothing to gain, so you lose control. They call me every man, surviving under buried sin, asked to be merry in a phony, lonely fairyland. And the lesson should then lessen the stress, and maybe buy me some rest, but keep failing the test. I feel the old cold stuck on my chest, say I'm trying my best, but I'm destined depressed inside a midnight sun. And the lesson should then lessen the stress, and maybe buy me some rest, but keep failing the test. I feel the old cold stuck on my chest, say I'm trying my best, but I'm destined depressed inside a midnight sun.
We are back with Legends TV, and the first video was Felix Linden's Chicago, followed by The Hired Gun. And what'd you think of Chicago? I thought it was...
Yeah, it was actually really good. Nice, good feel, and amazing images on those videos. It's very real in Chicago, so it's great getting the message out. It's dope.
There you go. Chicago
Yeah.
still has the blues, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a tragic, the last scene of the stop sign with the bullet holes. That's really something.
Really hits on the daily reality that's happening right now in the south side and the west side of Chicago, yeah.
It's like Al Capone days, except no one's really probably making money.
I have friends who are blues players living in Chicago, and they tell me that legends walking the streets collecting soda bottles and you know, cashing in those nickel bottles because the economy is rough. It's rough.
Especially for artists. Artists is always, it's going to be tough, even when the economy is good, so I can only imagine.
And speaking of great art, tell us about your video, black and white and beautiful. Yeah.
Well, shouts to Dave Braff and 203117 Productions on the video. Actually, the video was conceived by myself and David. I guess we did that video about a year ago for the upcoming album Nice Guys Finish, which you'll be able to get at freshrootsmusic.com. But the feel of the song was really about how does one deal with loss and deal with pain and overcome that and get through it. So the jazz feel, I wanted to kind of bring that into the visuals. So the black and white was really the way to go. And just the feel and the swing of it, a friend of mine who was in the video, Dawn Crandall, is an amazing choreographer and dancer, poet in her own right. and I asked her to contribute just an interpretive piece to the video. So that's a little taste of what this record's about. My first record, The People's Verses in 2008, very political, very socio-conscious. And this record, it has that on that. That's the makeup of what the type of art and music that I create. But I wanted to kind of delve a little bit more into who I was as a person, just beyond just, my values and ideas that I think about, on a day-to-day as an educator and working with young people in the community. Around the time of the record, I went through a lot of personal tragedies and going through a lot of obstacles, and that was sort of the impetus for the record. So, Midnight Sun basically talks about, what do you do when that thing that holds you up, that reflection, when it's gone, how do you keep going? How do you keep showing light? So that was like the whole idea behind the record, and the idea of the black and white. Make it a little more sophisticated, a little bit more classy, not like your typical, boom bap. Definitely going back to more of like the jazz feel. Like if you know anything about Gang Starr or anything like that, it kind of has like that jazz swing to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as an educator, how do you feel hip-hop can help kids today? Because so many of the images on commercial hip-hop are very negative, and we share a lot of the same friends, Cooley High, Top from the Bush,
Right.
So Soon.
Yeah.
And very positive music with the indie artists, but the commercial artists, some of it I just don't like.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Evan, I tell you, we could probably have a whole show just on that. To be honest with you, hip-hop at its root, at its core, has always been about expressing your reality. And when you look at the whole history, hip-hop's turned 40 years old this year.
Right.
So, it's not necessarily a spring chicken anymore. And definitely, if you look at commercial music or commercial anything right now, it's very pop, very surface. So hip-hop's really no different. But, as you mentioned, Cooley High, Top from the Bush, myself, there's a lot of great, and this was great about the digital age and the internet age. There's a lot of great music going on that you may not see on TV, on MTV or Fuse, but you may not hear on the radio. So I think hip-hop has a lot still to give, because at its core, it's really folk music. It's really talking about people's reality, their experiences. So in education, the way we use it at Urban Word NYC in New York City, and with Nomadic Wax, another organization that I work with dealing with international and global hip-hop, we tend to focus on the stories and people's individual stories, and not necessarily the dramatized or fantasized stories, but what's really happening to you in Bushwick? What's really happening to you in Washington Heights? Speak about that. Speak about the poetry of your life, as opposed to trying to emulate or create a character that maybe the market currently is saying, well, this is popular. That's one of the things that you have to kind of separate when you're looking at it. I really look at it's art, and then there's entertainment. Of course, art is meant to entertain, but sometimes entertainment is really not about art.
Right.
That's very
Sometimes
So
important.
well said.
Yeah.
Right on. Right
Very
on.
important to have kids express themselves. It gives, them meaning. It gives them value, and it takes their own experiences,
But-
however it is, and gives it value. And has a.
But what everyone was saying was right on. There's a lot of anger, when you see this music. Sometimes what's like, it's a lot of bad words.
Some anger, rightfully so, and
Yeah.
some are just commercial nonsense.
Yeah.
Posing. Some of it is
it's-
posing, and some of it is real. It sounds like you're trying to get to the substance of it and get away from posing, which I think would give the kids or anybody meaning. I think that's what.
Well, I come from the era, I'm a little bit older, and I come from the era where there used to be a slang term called keeping it real. And I always interpret that as keeping it real meant keep it to what you know, to who you are, to what you understand. And that's the really big emphasis when we're working with young people. If you don't bust guns, why are you speaking about it?
Right.
If you don't treat women in this way,
Right.
why are you going to speak about it? Some people do those things, and that might be their reality, and they can speak on it. But I know that for my music and the art that I love, we don't speak on things that we haven't experienced or don't understand or studied or researched.
Wouldn't that give it more anything? It would give more value. It's
Of course.
it's good to have an imagination and a fantasy, but it should come home. And of course, with kids, if you're teaching them, it should have that element in order to have an
I'll
impact.
tell you a quick story. I had a friend who's a director, a producer, and he did tons of hip-hop videos with all the top names.
Right.
And he said after a while, he said, listen, I want to do a different video. It's the same video. It's the girls in the bikini.
Right.
You had an elegant dancer, okay? Right. It's the girls in the bikini, the hot
Yes.
car, you know, et cetera, so on, every cliche and stereotype. And he said, you know, we're not saying anything here. And the record companies kept saying, that's what we want you to do.
Yeah.
And finally,
Right.
he walked away from it. I give him credit. But
Yeah.
what's your take on that?
I mean, you know, again, and you kind of really touched upon it. The idea that in what we know as mainstream media, and you can look at music, you can look at movies, you can look at TV.
Sex sells.
Yeah, I mean,
Sex
sex
sells.
sells, violence
But
sells.
women allow themselves
Right.
to. I'm sorry, because it's all about vision, publicity, numbers, ratings, money. Okay,
It always comes
It's-
down to money.
But it comes down to
everything.
money,
Right.
as simple as
Right.
that. But you know, it's like you have to be willing as a woman, as an artist, as an entertainer, wife. You have to be willing to do and to follow your own voice. And a lot of those girls out there, they don't care in terms of selling the flesh, showing boobs, showing this, showing
Well,
that.
you know, I think
It's all about it. Come
yeah,
on, Evan.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't care.
Yeah,
They really
well,
don't care.
I think the underlying thing that Evan was really getting to that I love to really talk about is the balance, the idea that if we're going to have stuff on the mainstream, there might be some people that are into that and actually do that, live that life, live that club life, maybe live that life. But that's not everyone. That's not the
Exactly.
whole.
Right.
Exactly.
And we need to kind of have more of that representation. I mean, the reality of it is, too, is, so much of, unfortunately, especially, I mean, we're all artists and we know what it is to try to get by and create and do your thing. But the realities of the business, reality of the
Right.
money, reality of, well, if I want to get into this door, what do I have to do?
Sure.
You heard of the casting couch.
Sure.
So it's a lot of, it's a very complex thing, but definitely, I've always felt this way, and more so now that I'm an educator and working with young people and realizing, when you first start out, when you're 15 and you're 16 years old, and you put a pen in your hand and it's a poem, or you get a guitar in your hand and you start to play, you fantasize about how great you can become and what you can do. And when you see people that are being lauded as great, being lauded as the best, when you're young, you tend to emulate that, because you're like, well, they're making the money, and they're going all of these exotic places, and everybody knows their name, and it's natural to want that. But at some point, you understand it's something that I was fortunate to learn, growing up in New Jersey, right next to New York City, and coming here and cutting my teeth, is that what these young people really want, they just want a career as an artist.
Right.
And there's so many ways to do that, what you're talking about. Sometimes you have to step out on a limb,
Right.
know that you have talent, know that you have
Yes.
skill, keep yourself tight with your business. And
Be
then you don't
truthful
have-
to yourself.
Truthful to yourself, truthful to your art.
yourself, yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that is that when you really, and I consider myself sort of a geek when it comes to art and history and things like that, when you look at the greats, when you look at the Jimi Hendrixes, the Janis Joplins, the Lauryn Hills, they're timeless.
Right.
They're classic. We can put
Marvin
any of
Gaye, What's Going On?
Exactly.
Songs in the Key of
Aretha
Life.
Franklin. I mean,
Superfly
so many,
soundtrack.
so
Billie
many
Holiday.
You
people.
see,
Absolutely.
he
Right,
knows
so
all
many
the
people.
names.
Right,
This
right,
man,
right.
Yeah.
Evan,
I know my
knows-
music.
Right,
You know
right.
all the music.
Right.
It's
Anyway,
incredible.
hi, Gunn. We have to go to a commercial break. Please give out your contact info, and later we're going to hear a live set from you.
Oh, excellent, sure. So check us out, Fresh Roots Music. That's fresh like fruit, roots like culture, music.com. It's the hired gun. Shouts to Nomadic Wax Collective, Urban Word, Re-Education Project, and we're just keeping it moving.
And
Yeah,
I want
nice.
everybody to check out our archives here at legendstv.net. We've had At Last, Minnie Deanne, Cooley High, So Soon.
that's all family.
Power from the Bush.
Yeah, that's
we've
all
had
family. That's
and
all
some of them jamming with live musicians. I mean, it's hot. It's
Yeah.
hot, so check that out. And we're going to hear a live set from you and a poetry set from John later in the show, so don't go anywhere. And right after this commercial break, wrestling journalist Bryan Salomon. Don't go anywhere, folks.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries, We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
There you are.
All right, and we are back, and we are joined on the couch. We were talking about the couch, a la Johnny Carson at the Tonight Show.
Yes.
And we are back with Bryan Salomon, wrestling journalist, very respected. How many books have you written?
I'm working on my 4th book right now, and 3 of them have been on the very literary subject of professional wrestling.
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
So since you present it that way, I see on the internet, quote-unquote wrestling journalist who could barely write a sentence, grammatically disastrous. Why is that?
Well, that's been happening all across journalism.
That's
it's not
right.
just quote-unquote wrestling journalism.
I see
right?
even newspapers today. I see a lot of typos and mistakes.
They
in
bury
newspapers.
the lead. I mean, what passes for journalism now? I mean, look, they're not even willing to really pay a lot, so you get what you pay for. You know, especially when it comes to online journalism, it's hit and miss. So there's a lot of wrestling journalism out there that is certainly questionable at best. Yeah.
And what is your particular fascination with wrestling? I know, I go back 40 years with it, but tell us how you broke into wrestling. And
Well, I don't even go back 40 years on the planet Earth.
Okay.
But I do, as a fan, I go back about 25 years now, almost 30 years now from when I was a kid. I just grew up as a huge fan during the whole Hulkamania era. That was my era, even though I rooted for all the bad guys. And so when I got the opportunity to eventually work there, that was something that I jumped at. It was kind of like a childhood dream. You know, Shawn Michaels talks about the boyhood dream coming true.
Right.
That was my boyhood dream. So I got to live it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And tell us about your various books that you've done.
Well, I was at WWE for 7 years, 2000 to 2007, and I was the editor of their magazine division, so WWE Magazine and Raw Magazine and all those publications. I launched SmackDown Magazine while we were there. It only lasted a couple of years, so I'm the only editor in the history of SmackDown Magazine. But I worked on their trivia book, the WWE trivia book. I was one of the contributors on that book, along with Kevin Kelly and some of our other magazine writers. And I did a book called WWE Legends, which was my pet project, talking about all the real old school legends of the WWF. But now I'm working on another book called Pro Wrestling FAQ. That's kind of my new book now. I can't really get away from the wrestling business no matter how hard I try. So I was asked to write this book. I have a good friend of mine named Mike Edison who works for Hal Leonard Publishing, a wrestling visionary and commentator extraordinaire. And he helped get me this gig, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It's my dream
Pro
book.
wrestling as in the same, not like Greco-Roman college.
No,
Olympic.
not
turnbuckle. and
Yeah. Although it's
pile drivers. And
interesting thing though is that that Greco-Roman amateur wrestling, everybody thinks that professional wrestling was like a corruption of that amateur Greco-Roman wrestling, but it actually happened the other way around. Amateur wrestling became popular about at the turn of the century, 20th century, in colleges and high schools, because of how popular professional wrestling was at the time in America. That's where all of the wrestling departments started in schools around that time.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, and that will be in my book, Pro Wrestling FAQ.
That's a very
all the
interesting
history.
point, because I know that certainly been around. I mean, even John Irving, the writer, was a wrestling coach and wrote about it, I think, at least in GARP. And there's a guy here, Tommy Mayer, actually, who was on staff who wrestled in college. And I think his brother was also a number in amateur, I guess.
Yeah,
wrestling.
amateur, right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't. That's.
And a thought just popped in my head since I have you two gentlemen together. What do you think of when people make generalities? For example, wrestling is stupid and hip hop, rap is crap, and they make this blanket statement, which to me is just outrageous.
Wow.
What's your take on that? Where does this come from?
Well, one of the things that I address in the book is this whole bad mouthing of wrestling as, oh, it's fake, oh, it's scripted, and I've never been able to understand that mentality, because that's like telling people that their favorite TV show is scripted or their favorite movie. Well, I wouldn't expect it to be anything other than that. I always tell people that those wrestlers you watch on TV, they know what they're doing ahead of time. They know the whole thing. And I'll say, that show you watch, The Walking Dead, every week? I'm going to blow your mind right now.
Yeah.
Those zombies on that show,
they're actors.
They're actors wearing makeup.
It's so true.
I'll do you even better. Your reality TV show.
That's all
It's actually
right?
scripted.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The one thing I thought about this when I grew up like you in the '80s, so like Honky Tonk Man, Coco Beware. That's the era that I come from.
The Birdman.
Yeah. People don't realize that whether it's scripted or not, these men and women are athletes.
Right.
They are actually
Tremendous.
top world-class
They would have to be,
athletes.
They have to be.
Yeah.
Very gifted.
To be in
Very
the ring and to be jumping around.
But people
and
like to
putting
make
on a show.
judgments. People love to make
Well,
judgments.
you know what? In kind of the parallel you were talking about with hip-hop, I think that there's so much out there. And ironically, you would think that more choice means that everybody would have a better idea of, oh, well, I don't like this, but I have a million other things. But, the industry and everything, you just only see really one side of so much stuff. And it's
so true.
yeah, I find a lot of times people, the first thing they see on the table, they just pick it up and grab it.
Yeah, but you
They
see,
don't dig deep.
but when you
Yeah.
really think about it, sorry, John, I interrupted you. You're not hating me. You love me.
Yeah.
You can't hate me. There's a lot of the world has changed dramatically. Everything, it takes only one click, and you see a lot of variety.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not like before. Now there is variety. Now there's a bunch of articles. Now there's a bunch of people, bunch of interviews, bunch of things going on. So you can have a better judgment. Maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was not like now.
And again, the commercialization of anything waters it down or flattens it out. I mean, if you think of the purity, you're going back even, popular music in America. You mentioned something, bringing it to kids that it's their own experience. I mean, when jazz started, it was people playing on the street.
Right.
And it started that way, very raw. And then Louis Armstrong came and made it very, very different, and it all kind of expanded from there. Is it the same as what Louis Armstrong began? No, and I like what you're bringing to, because I've worked also my other life. I work with children, and I think that's very important. And a lot of kids, they love. God, they go crazy for wrestling.
Yes.
That's such
because
a
it's
common.
it's entertainment. It's funny
Wrestling
too.
is like anything else. When it's done right, it's an art form. When
Yes,
it's done
it is.
wrong, it's a circus. And the same thing with hip hop. You
Right.
have brilliant artists, and you have guys who are buffoons, and it's just like anything else.
Yeah.
It can be a performance art at its best. You're right about that.
My radio mentor, the late Fred Giabold, used to call professional wrestling the proletarian performance art, the theater of the people. Because it was very simple, good against evil, and usually good would win, and they love it. And my grandfather loved wrestling, and I love wrestling, but I love wrestling when it's done right. The king of sports, a Daniel Bryan,
Sure.
The Shield, CM Punk. I don't like it when it gets too cartoonish.
Well, it comes down to it's still entertainment, right? It's art.
Right.
We were talking, you guys were talking before about when art becomes entertainment and vice versa. It's still about money and it still has to be entertaining. So,
But it can be both.
It can be both at
It
its
can be
best.
both.
At its best, it
That's
can be
best,
both.
but it's not that easy to get both together. Whether you go to one end or to the other. Or I'm just mistaken.
And I think if you're really doing it right, that's what you're really trying to strive for. You're trying to strive for something that has a meaning,
Right.
that has depth, but at the same time, it's something that people can instantly connect to, they want to keep going back to. Because honestly, you're not going to go back to something if it's boring.
Yeah.
Even if it's something that really
Because
makes
it's
sense
very
and
easy
powerful,
to
you're not
flip
going
the
to do it.
channel,
It
too.
is
People sometimes they don't,
entertainment.
you can flip the
Yeah.
channel. It takes less than a second to flip the
That's right.
channel.
You have to give people what they want. You know,
Right.
you mentioned Daniel Bryan. That was an example of just them shifting gears and realizing we're not giving people what they want. We're
Right.
giving them these big muscle-bound guys that used to work in the past, but the audience doesn't want that anymore. They
Right.
like this guy. He looks like one of us. He's
Yeah.
a regular-looking guy.
Right.
He's kind of quirky and eccentric and unusual. And they had to change their whole mindset. And I give them all the credit in the world for being able to shift gears and change their storylines and give the people what they
Even
wanted.
Cesaro, he's an
Yes.
average-looking guy, and he's a tremendous athlete, and they decided to push him. They listened to the fans. It's
Yeah.
important.
They paired him up with Paul Heyman, who is the
of the
ultimate
great
heat
talkers.
magnet right now. Yeah, yeah. And they allow him, what I love about Cesaro is they actually allow him to be bald. Wrestlers aren't allowed to be bald
Yeah.
anymore. They always
Yeah.
have to shave their head when they start to lose
Yeah.
their hair.
Back in the old days, you had
Right.
Killer Carl Cox
Sure.
and Buzz Sawyer. And,
Vern Gagne.
Yeah, Vern
you know?
Gagne. It didn't matter.
I think he was born bald. I don't know if he ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as far as wrestling today, what do you think of the commercialization of it? I mean, do you think it cheapens it when you have 4,000 different products, much of which is garbage, or what's your take on that?
Well, I think WWE is probably oversaturating the market a little bit now. That is one of my criticisms, if that's what you mean. I mean, I don't know if 3 hours of Raw every week, I think that might be a bit of overkill. But they know their market. There's
I mean, do
obviously
we
an
need
audience
a
out there
CM
for
Punk
it.
ice cream bar? I mean, really, you know?
Do they still do those?
I don't know. I don't know.
They used to
Action
do the ice cream bars, and I don't
the
know if
action
they still
figures
do.
are very popular.
Yeah, there is a market out there for it. I mean, some of it does eventually get to the point of, are you just trying to squeeze every penny out of your fan base? Is there enough of a demand out there for this supply, and are you getting away from what originally brought you to the dance?
Well, let me take it to the next level. When you see a Flavor Flav, and Public Enemy is one of the all-time great hip-hop acts, when you see a Flavor Flav on reality TV, does it cheapen it? Does it, you know?
Well, I mean, I would say Flavor Flav's his own man. So, whatever Flavor Flav chooses to do, and I think Chuck's talked about this before, it's sort of, Public Enemy is Public Enemy. And Flavor Flav's a part of Public Enemy. But Flavor Flav's also his own person, just like Chuck D. He speaks, he lectures, he's an educator, he does amazing, amazing things on the academic side. And even though that's more in line with what you consider Public Enemy, really it's Chuck D. So, Flavor Flav's a grown person. He can make the decisions he wants with his own, life and what he wants to do creatively as an individual.
I happen to love both of them, but ultimately, be honest, wouldn't you have more respect for Chuck D?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, whatever someone wants to do. I mean, I respect anybody that's doing what they want to do. I'm not a big fan of reality TV.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't watch. But to be honest with you, man, as a fan of the music and the culture, when it's hard for me, and it might be because of my age too. When I think Flavor Flav, I just automatically think Public Enemy. Flavor of Love that feels like if I was 16 years old, that's
Right.
Flavor Flav to me. Right. When I see Flavor Flav, it might be biased. I just automatically go to, Welcome to the Terror Dome or 911 is a joke. And if you really understand the history of the group too, Flavor Flav's always kind of been the clown. He's always kind of been the outrageous one. He sort of had that balance to sort of the seriousness. So in a lot of ways, it made sense that Flavor Flav almost would go that route. He's always been sort of the court jester.
Right.
But in the context of Public Enemy, they were using him as to sort of kind of bring like brevity to certain things. So like 911 is a joke with his song. And it was just sort of about the hilarity of the fact that you have these emergency services in your city, but depending on where you live in the city, you might not get them.
Right.
Cops will show up to the Upper East Side in 5 minutes. You might have to wait 45 minutes if you live in Brownsville, though. So it's sort of, people don't want to necessarily get hammered over the head with that reality, but if you bring a little brevity to it, and I think that's what Flavor Flav brought to them, and now you just see him,
I don't think there's anything wrong with humor in art
Oh, yeah.
whatsoever, but sometimes you do cross that line into, are you going from court jester into, prostituting yourself? Or,
I'll be honest with you.
It makes it a surreal edge, I guess,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Yeah,
maybe.
you know what? I'll be honest with you. I think in the list of buffoonery that's going on if we're going to use a term. There's a million rappers and there's a million artists that I would line up way quicker.
Oh, yeah, I'm a fan of
way
Flavor.
farther than Flavor Flav.
I've met him at music industry seminars. You know, he's sharp as could be.
Interesting tidbit about him. People don't realize he's actually a very gifted musician.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Actually, an amazing drummer, knows how to play bass. Yeah, and it's interesting. Jeff Chang had a great book, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, and they talk about Public Enemy in the book. And you never realize that this group that came actually from Long Island, multi-talented across the board. But, you know, obviously they found a way to sort of kind of create an image and kind of move forward. Because people don't realize Chuck D used to be a radio personality doing more like disco stuff. I mean, he'd always been a part of it and had a political mind. But his early career, you know, it was more just entertainment, fun stuff. It wasn't really this heavy like, yo, we got to talk about fight the power. So you realize people evolve, they change, they grow in the ways they're going to grow. They're going to do certain things, different things. And, you know, I think as an artist, especially, I mean, I think Flav's got to be 50. So, I mean, you're talking.
Plus.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, people, they evolve, they change over time. They have periods where they're doing certain things. And
by the way, since you mentioned it, Sly Stone and Rufus Thomas were both DJs.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I did not know that.
A lot of guys came out of radio.
Yeah. Well, I mean, radio, that was king. That was king.
I have a deep respect for radio. I've done radio since
absolutely.
1991.
Yeah, I had a college radio station when I was at Marist College. Shouts out to Marist College.
There you go.
Yeah, I was a radio. I wasn't the DJ. My boy, shouts to Unpaid Bill. He was the DJ. I was actually in your position, Evan. I was the personality on the radio, so I did all the talk, and he made me look good.
I'm not the personality. Sissy is.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
yes,
stop.
you are.
I tell you, I was thinking
bubbly. She's bubbling over.
No, it's just that when we talk about reality shows and wrestling and entertainment, you make a choice. I don't care if you're a writer, if you're a politician, if you are, you make a choice how you want to be, how you want to market yourself.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay, that's beyond any marketing, ratings, and money. You make a choice.
If you're 20 years old, the record company's going to tell you what to do. If you have a certain level of power, you may.
Yeah, but
hey man, there's a lot of 30-year-old artists sitting there that are not Jay-Z or Drake or any of these popular.
Sure.
You know, Wendy Day actually did a great blog about this and talking about the fact that if you're not one of the top people, no matter what your age,
you don't have the power.
Right, you don't have the power.
You're starving. You're not actually. And I think that goes for wrestling. I think it goes for any entertainment industry.
Yes,
if you're not one of the top dogs, you know, you're just going to be dictated to.
Well, CM Punk, one of the things that he tweeted right before he walked out of the company, it was a reference to that old expression, if you're not the front dog, the view never changes, right? So he just kind of got sick of being in that position. Not for me to speak for him.
Let me play devil's advocate, and I'm a big fan of CM Punk. He was making good money, and he was pushed pretty heavily. So that is kind of a choice to walk away and say, I'm not number one, I'm number two and number three. I mean,
I respect what he did, and I understand why he did it. And you know, he didn't want to continue playing that political game. He wasn't a big fan of that. He saved his money, obviously, so he has the ability to do this.
As far as his health, he's smart.
Yeah, I think probably for him, he did the right thing. I think where he catches heat, I'm sure, is the fact that he just kind of walked out on the contract. But you know what? I mean, they're going to let him go, and I'm sure eventually they would have. And I don't know if they would have given him the proper notice, too. So he probably felt like he was within his rights to look out for his health and his career and his interests and to do that.
The McMahons once said that they changed their philosophy. It was always about the title. It was always about the champion. Later, it became about the WWE experience. Come to the show. You have the divas. You have the pyro. You have the music. And it came, let's go to MSG. Let's go to Nassau Coliseum. Let's go to Meadowlands, whatever, to see WWE as opposed to see any one particular guy. So this way, when a Rock, when a Hogan, or a CM Punk walk away, it just keeps churning along.
Well, if you notice, they don't even do those local promos anymore where they tell you what matches are coming to the local arena. When if you go to a house show or a local arena show, you really have, or even a Raw or SmackDown, you have no idea for the most part what matches you're going to see. What you do know is you're going to see WWE, and that logo is what they use. That brand is what they use to sell their shows. Like you said, it's bigger than any one talent. They don't even really mention who's going to be there most of the time. People
like
are there.
Brothers, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot. They're on the same page. I mean, even
just kind of clever marketing in that sense. But
well, you know, when you look at it like a sport, and you look at these wrestlers as athletes, it's sort of like a league. So, you know, you have baseball that sort of kind of promotes itself as like the game, but then you have the NBA, and what they emphasize is the player, the star. So yeah,
well,
I mean, it's
to a fault. I mean, I
I agree. I agree. You know,
I wish it was more of it like the old days
right,
when
right.
they played
You know,
team ball.
yeah. I mean, the reality of it is and this goes back to I think something that you've been touching on a lot too, is that whether you're an artist or an entertainer, or you know, if you're in a situation like the WWE, sort of like a hybrid of being an athlete and also an entertainer. I think about WWE. I think about things like football, where the contracts aren't guaranteed. So if you're going to make sure that you can kind of walk out without a concussed head, or you know your knees are deteriorated, you know if you're fortunate enough, like CM Punk, you save your money, you know you do your years, you do your time, you get the most out of it as an individual, because you realize that franchise is really not looking out for you.
Right.
It's kind of,
Of
like
course,
WWE.
of course.
You know, you got to look out. You got to look out for
The
your,
NHL,
look
the
for yourself.
players have a class action suit now. These hockey players, they're brawling, they're getting concussions,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they retire, and their brains are scrambled.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a class
Yeah.
action suit now.
But there's, you know, again, there's something to be said about being your own boss and being an independent
Yeah.
artist, because
Absolutely.
like you said, you have to make those choices. And
You make the choices, even when you know, okay, should I go this way, should I go that way?
well, getting into that industry is a choice, because by doing
Yes.
that, you're basically saying, you know what, I'm going to forfeit the control
Right.
of what I do
Right.
for the promise of money, of access, and things like that. And I know that I made a very conscious choice at a very young age. And actually, this is, you know, something that KRS-One had said. I'd heard in an interview.
KRS-One is a genius.
He is. The knowledge reigns supreme over nearly
Yeah.
everyone. He is one of the greatest. And he said, you know, don't have your art be the primary source of your income. And it wasn't until I got older where I realized why. If you're going into, to get a label, like my imprint, Fresh Roots Music, is my own imprint. You know, Todd from the Bush, Pushing the Bush Records. You know, Cooley High has his own imprint. And we made conscious choices at some point to realize, like, you know what? I can dictate
Right.
what my image is. I can.
And it feels good.
Right. And I may never, which has no problem for me. I'm blessed. I live well. I'll never maybe be a millionaire because I'm an artist. But what I do know is I'm going on my 8th international tour. I have my own imprint. And I control what I look like, what I sound like, my music.
Nice.
And that's the thing that I try to impress upon young artists. Do you want to have a career? Do you want to have your own worth and value? Or are you looking to be a star? Because you
Right.
can go that route. And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to do that, but understand the
But not
reality of what
everybody-
it is, the politics,
It's
the
true.
lack of control, that it's sort of like that one-shot hit or miss. Like, if I don't get this great single, if I
Right.
don't become that name,
Right.
then I'm going to get shuffled into the deck, and then you lose that
Yesterday's
passion.
paper says.
Right.
I tell
Yeah, but
people-
not everybody becomes a star.
I tell young
Right,
people.
right.
Not
But you know
everybody
what?
has
There's-
star quality.
We all know thousands of artists, poets, TV personalities. I mean, we're on this TV show right now, that you can have great audience, you can make a career, you can get around the world, you can really impact
Absolutely.
people without
Absolutely.
necessarily being, on all of the top 40 stations or being in some type of Clear Channel affiliate. And that's the beautiful thing about technology now.
Yes.
Follow
know-
your dreams, but have a plan B. You have to make a
Plan
living.
B.
It's not
And just
all-
be tight with your
Sure.
business. Be tight with your
Absolutely.
business and know what you're getting into. If you're going to make that choice to go to the big league, go big time, don't go in it with starry eyes. Realize that, okay, it's going to be a grind. It's maybe not necessarily about my art. It might not necessarily be about my talent, but it might be how I understand how to maneuver myself in the game, how to get negotiating and leveraging right. And that's a whole different thing. I didn't really get into art to be a lawyer. I didn't really get into
Right.
art to be
Right.
an accountant. I got into art because I wanted to touch people. I
Right.
wanted to have them listen to my music and hopefully have a conversation and a dialogue. And I've been able and fortunate enough with my skill and the ability to just be smart about where I'm doing and how I'm doing it, getting that opportunity. And now, I'm in my mid-30s. I've been doing it for well over 20 years. And it's great when I can go back and see a young person. I have young people not like, oh, you're going to Africa next week. Oh, how do I do
Yeah.
that? And it's like, you know how you do that? You focus, you get good with your skills and your talent, and you're consistent. You make
And
sure
you
your
s-
business is tight. You make sure you're a professional. And that means that 15 years down the road, okay, you might not have, 1.5 million people know your name, but you're going to have enough people that are going to support what you do, support your
Absolutely.
music, because
Right.
you're giving them something that they
Words
want.
of
Quality.
wisdom.
Quality.
Words of wisdom
Quality.
from the hired gun.
Yeah.
Brian, please give out your contact info.
Yes. Okay. So the book is Pro Wrestling FAQ, and if you go to Facebook and just look up Pro Wrestling FAQ on Facebook, you'll get all the latest updates on the book. It'll be coming out next year, or you can follow me on Twitter at B_SOL.
And a couple of quick plugs. Yours truly will be at the Elks Lodge, the glamorous Elks Lodge on Queens Boulevard, tonight with Nicole Bass at the WWO inaugural show, so come out for that, 7:30, say hello. Next Saturday, SWA Wrestling, I'll be with Nicole Bass at the NYWC Sportatorium, another elegant venue, if you will. May 31st, America's Championship Wrestling, and that's AmericansWrestling.com with the great Teddy Hart. Teddy Hart's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And June 21st, New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and Fan Fest in Rhode Island. I'll be off that day from Legends TV, and Steve Ludwig will be hosting that day. And once again, our condolences on the loss of his father. Steve's a great guy, and he's been through a lot lately. Lost his mother-in-law and his dad in a very brief period, so our thoughts are with Steve. And finally, on Facebook, check out 350 Days and Indiegogo campaign, 350 Days Wrestling Documentary, 350 Days Wrestling Documentary. Yours truly, the associate producer, superstar Billy Graham, Bret Hart, Bill Eadie, Nikolai Volkov, many, many others. It's a great documentary, and we can use your help with the fundraising. So we will be back in just a few minutes with live poetry from John Winnell, followed by a great music set by the Hired Gun. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Being a fireman is more than just putting out blazes and giving kittens CPR. Sometimes my duty demands I fan the flames, like when a call comes in from a lady who needs immediate assistance. Maybe she needs help with a computer thing. Maybe she wants to go antique. Could be as simple as understanding that walking in heels it's hard. Aussi simple que l'été dernier à Paris. C'est sympa. Maybe it's ladies' night in, and she wants a simple, delicious recipe for margaritas with a twist. First, a can of limeade. Now hold on to this, you'll be using it. Side note, kittens make everything better. Next, add water. Now, a bottle of light beer. No, shh. Trust me, I'm a professional. And last, and most important, Sauza Blue Tequila. Now, mix it up. Ole. Yes, that's what I'm trained for. Whether it's to help her choose leggings or pants, telling her leggings are pants, or discussing leggings and jeggings versus pant pegging at her next ladies' night in, I'll come to the rescue. Don't call me a hero. Just call me. Let me know what time.
Old Spice body spray will make you feel so powerful to blow your mind right in front of your face. Goodbye. Oh no! He's like, I don't. Power!
Automatic freshness, softness, and static control has never been easier with the Bounce Dryer Bar. I just stick it to the inside of my dryer, and I never have to remember.
Oh, Old Spice body spray makes you smell like power! It's so powerful it sells itself in other people's commercials. You smell like outdoor freshness.
You smell like power.
Yeah, I do. Power! Power!
Try this routine to feel fresh and clean. Pair Charmin Fresh Mates with your Charmin.
Oh, Spice body spray is too powerful to stay in its own commercial. That's right. Power. Oh, Spice body spray can change a regular smelling man into a man who smells like power.
Now, how is this?
Wow, you know what? I actually do feel more powerful.
Potato chips! Power! It's me.
Now we're getting ready with some poetry with John Winnell. It's all yours. Take over, baby.
Thank you. Ooh. That's my Jimi Hendrix moment. So these are fairly new, and well, you'll see. This is called Horseman on the Beach. Whispers in the wind, take us from these burning shores. The trees' charred branches drop leaves along the forest floor. One look from you and I fall within a maelstrom. The earth opening its gloomy chasms, pulling legs, arms, silent screams that leave scratches on the window. The witch goddess' soft, wet eyes, I touch your naked face, palm pressed, breathing smoke, your hair dangling quietly, dropping like birds across an acre of night. I'm lost in the netherworld of darkness, beneath a pool of light, illuminated sorrows where shadows mingle and drink the air from clouds. This is the place, they told us, where the horsemen come to drink. If you're quiet, you can hear them breathing softly, watching the skies for signs. This is called Take Heed from the Night. Take heed from the skin of night, its cruelty like a disease, seeping within the blood like dragon's spit. I listened to last gasps of crisp daylight near the window, open cracked diagonal sliver, as street lamps quiet reflects along the bedroom's chip ceiling. Your mouth inviting, words that float above the silence, my paralysis like Siberian midnight, frozen breath like that lingers like smoke, the scent of coconut, spiders emerging from the garden offer kisses to neighboring flowers. I'm lost in tenderness, now collapsed, somehow time-trapped, a morsel in amber held in suspended animation, layers below the surface like a submarine, falling and rising, dancing beneath the waves. This is a little short one called Bloodied Lips. The glass in my hand, cold, strident, casts an anxious reflection. Time-weary carved crevices, a glance in the mirror, the afterglow of blood-caked lips. An eternity of looking, hallowed nothingness echoes, clouds in winter, storms in my head torn by wind, soft bodies of dust fade into memory as letters left in the rain lose all meaning. And this, it's all the Edgar stuff, the Edgar theme, called The Flight of a Bat.
Nighttime.
Nice.
Screeches pierce evening's ectoplasm, soft breezes that caress latent buds, arouse the air with perfume, arched black wing curl, intoxicated teeth bared, coursing across skin like blood through heart ventricles. The hunger of loneliness, eclipsed by a howling lizard moon, skin encrusted by sand, racing through a dusty sky, awaiting Babylon. Tonight you led me to the sea, boats rolling across the arc of falling water. I could taste salt upon my tongue as you rolled sweet breath along my neck and eyes. The scent of skin and memory. I listened to your whispers and took your poison as it hid me forever from the dawn. And this is in honor of the passing of Passover, and it's called Unleavened Evening. And so another year's passing, pebbles of light expand, drizzling warmth along our unwashed heads. The murky grays of death and solitude, forever lingering above our windows, dissipate for but a moment. The eagle stretches his wings and the bear his claws. The fertile ground is ripe for grasping, shaking snow and leaves, drinking stars from the soul of stones, weeping in the midnight wind. Arise and meet this unbroken moment, fresh as an infant's tears. Watch the waves dance along the river, the rhythms like bodies conjoined, while we awaken and celebrate another year slipping within the layers of the moon. I think that's it. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am Tom Mealy for the Harrison Law Group, and I have been telling you for years that getting involved in an automobile accident is no joke. This is what we do. We're not new at this game. If you've been involved in an accident of any kind, and you go to a law firm that says you have no case, it's simple. It's because they can't do it and they don't get it. You need to call us directly at 1-800-INJURY-LAW.
And up next, the Higher Gun. Next week on Legends TV, we're going to have Nicole Bass, graffiti artist The Walnuts, and Umar from The Last Poets. There you go. It's all yours, man. Keep rocking.
All right, all right. What's going on, Legends TV? It's the Hired Gun, a.k.a. H-Rap Gun, a.k.a. H.G. Wells, the Black Bohemian. We're live and direct from Legends TV. Brooklyn is in the building. Big shouts to the band Nomadic Wax Collective. Big shouts to Ty from the Bush, Freestyle Mondays fam. We're about to do it live and direct. I'll give you a couple things off of Nice Guys Finish, the forthcoming album on Fresh Roots Music. You can check all of that music at FreshRootsMusic.com or FreshRoots.bandcamp.com. Arnold desires and liars at the heart of this. Martyrs who barter their lives to a psychiatrist, hoping they can fly one day out of the lion's den. We tend to try and see if it fits, so we rely on good friends in hopes of a lift. You're told when life is choking you to go and get a grip, but they never stepped in the step that ain't going through this. Press the dead or accept it, all you want to do is shout. Pain is paralyzed, relegating and walking it out. What we talking about is growth, breeders, parasites, and hosts believe that afterlife is what we aspire to most. Postpartum to ghosted, devoted, hope to be part of, so we don't rust over the flames and go away hardened. Show me the way, then I'll tiptoe through the garden with ancient remains in the heart, even though we're modern. Problem is we follow Da Vinci codes as a sovereign, but we're falling off track and the train ain't stopping. Fate is full steam ahead, faces the fuel, so many moving on with nothing really guiding them through. There ain't no Google mapping.
No tapping in the satellites to line it up and get the picture right. Just pissing matches and picking fights. Too little living, love, and giving light. Let us straight just rest and stay in sleepless nights. We invite you on board. We're moving forward towards calmer water. There's no partisan politics or even armored borders. No one's dharma slaughtered. We adjust the karma order, balance and choosing organic over brick and mortar. Stranded on deserted isles, you wonder if it's worth you out to go signal for help, or maybe just go out in style, tired from the extra mile wire, fight to test the wild that's never tame, and after the bout, never the same. Whatever became of other peace, love, and happiness, now it's new happiness. Comedians and actors and roles, they adapted and mapped out for a show. Half of them tapped out before the first blow. They would tell you no. Don't own the egg spice, cause it's grape. Do what it takes to forget what makes you whole. Who's in control? Better who will save your soul. It's nothing about a jewel. Singing the blues, taking control, feel the use, turn the cold, getting used, feeling old. Any slightly nice diffuse, so we're told with the loose, staying even with nothing to believe in. Angels are human beings, no one really questions the truth. We're for the targeted, the disregarded artisans. This art empower more who lost their love and start again. Those exposed and get shook harder than Parkinson's. This is for all y'all. Welcome to the hardship. This track's called You. We about to get it in. Legends TV. Yo. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't take it with ya. So what is it you want to do? No blue was on the ticker. Life's a little sweet, a little bitter, but you gotta admit both flavors put together make it richer. If I was a quitter, would've never seen the Charles River under a million. Start spitting hard with some of the sickest you could rip paragraphs of foreign bars. Far removed from the pain of yesterday. You can say this is my avatar, but I ain't where the wild things are. In my mind, there's on the way out. Let me lay it out for you. At 14, thought the lawyer was the chosen path. Wasn't known for math. Couldn't conceive of an invention that allowed Tom Sawyer, but had a thing for spiraling notebooks. Went to college pre-law, but the sovereign had me hooked. Couldn't let it be. Switched the recipe and took every bit of spice and nook. Then brought it to a slow cook. Low flame, blood boiled soul. Other people's history, happiness and misery, all of the above. Plus a crew with me who's new to the city with a little heat and couldn't sleep, trying to get some grub. Speed it up to now, I move a bigger crowd. My dudes are proud dads while I gave birth to a dream. But what does it really mean? Guess I still have the faith in a higher court, still stating my case. You face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. And we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. You face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. So we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. Not a lot of people want forever and a day, cause eternity you see is a really long way. A walk around the world, it can get a little funky. Most down to ride, they expect the seats comfy. It isn't how it works, or it was the way I did it. Knew what I was in for, but I'm committed. Yes, I admit it, there was more in store than a show with fat beats. More than I hoped for, much more than a bargain. Walmart shopping, I am not just working out the knots. No plots, so my heart won't harden. I know we gotta shout, so I practice picking spots on the floor. Peter or Queen, we're both not sovereign. And ever so often when guards ain't dropping, watch her leave when her friends think she looks for other options. Imagination active, make a situation rotten. Plays with no passion, have the opposition stop them. Every day's a blessing in what chemistry's about. See, fire can heat water or cancel each other out. No, I'm not a prophet, but I sort of quote one in love. Nothing to show for really until you show some. Nothing hurts more, you're adored being near. Knowing you're ignored, the song she won't hear. Language and the picture for her no longer clear. I'm Ellison, invisible man, my words being face forward. You can't look back, and if it's just all words, there's no room to act. And we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. Your face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. So we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. Where do we go when the soul sits restless, with our hearts full of holes that we all just accepted? Worms squirm like toes in the cold, they've been eating at the fold. And your hemoglobin tone of the death wish. Shackles on the nose and the don't and the cans. And you hope you grow old and it gets a little better. But it won't if you can't find a hold on your precious. Ain't talking about a ring or a blink, but the blessings on the 10,000 things what I bring on a record. Pebbles that I sling hit the target cause the method. Leveling the field is as much about your yield to the greater energy as it is about a shield and the sword that you yield. See, dreaming is a reckless, it's believing that everything we do ain't connected. I need the antiseptic to the virus that's infected. Every bit of drive, every single drop of thrive that I've stored in my bones, they found out where I kept it. Thought I Anne Franked it, Linus minus the blanket. No security in hands, we're really keeping still. Even doctors tell you that's the worst way to get ill. Even wolves are still rust when they rest in the elements. I'm still the kid imagining a rainbow striped elephant. Unicorns and pheasants that speak to me in questions. The trick is having vision while you're living in the present. Even when we're pressed in boxes are never pleasant. Every script is destined for edits. We'll leave you to the best ends. Yeah, we'll leave you to the best ends. You gotta make amends and live again. You face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. And I'ma say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. You face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. So we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. Please live your life. Please live your life. You face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. So we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. You face forward, you can't look back. And if it's just all words, there's no room to act. So we will say 4 words and that'll be that. Please live your life. Fresh Roots Music. We're gonna take it out for Brooklyn. We're gonna take it out for Brooklyn. We got one more, Ghost to Ocean Avenue. Shouts to Ocean and Church. Let's do it. Top from the bush. Peace. Max got on sabbatical, radical, ridicule my idle brain. Masters think I care, here's the tissue. Goes to Ocean Avenue, walked on the humble. Jersey scarred hard with a little Brooklyn attitude. Yeah, you haven't heard of a black nerd general. Power fist minded, white collar criminal. Meaning I can bend a few rules like a life of yellow belly spines with the color of an egg yolk. I'ma keep it moving till my leg broke. Pay close attention to the way I heat the dial in the now. Getting low cause how I move crowds. You can say I'm eastbound and down. We are all sound, vibration in the rhythm profound. The hair wasn't heir to the throne while they call the dreaded crown. Season change, the weather it gets worse than the woman. Nature is a treasure. All in together now a hybrid of bald when Ezra Pound Raj Federer. Champion on court, serving words winning wherever. Concerned with the lessers with a doctorate in letters out to 5 definition. No Merriam-Webster. Legends keep on taking it. Yeah. We keep coming back. Come on. Brooklyn keeps on taking it. What? We keep coming back. Hey, legends keep on taking it. What? We keep coming back. Brooklyn keep on taking it. We keep coming back. The Hagakuri purely in my veins. Surely you're insane to defame the warrior whose aim is straighter than the haters in my lane. Hit a move the chain, big change of pace, getting chased by pain. To me it's all the same, it'll never break me down. Goes to Ocean Avenue, haunting in your town. The gauntlet from the gun, 100 pounds. Gone before you hear a sound, hungry, humble, hero, honor bound. I ponder parallels of what is now. Considered as the pinnacle, not really proud when I look around. So much for odd futures, sloppy super producers. Money cows pandering the crowd, I'm in the clouds cause I'm Zulu trekking. Brethren general with Tutu. Days of reckon beckon those who don't oppose the truth. Lessons when you lose, life will test a few. Lies you lay in bed inside your head forever follow you. Swallows in the cyanide to kill the solar side. I'm no better, there's no pleasure cause I didn't run and hide. I'm always down to ride. A trafficker, a traveler, a challenger. I slide around the galaxy, no guide. My music is a massacre our egos can provide. I'm a Ram fan now, but I rock a lion's pride. Science I'm applying to the sound I'm singing by. Cause we're lost in all the riddles and I can't decode the pie. Legends keep on making it. And we keep coming back.
Brooklyn keeps on taking it.
Hired Gun, HG. You will check us out this fall for the forthcoming album, Nice Guys Finish. Shout to the producer, my partner in crime, Mr. ZQ. Shouts to Anna in Sweden. 11203 Productions. Dave Braff on the video for Midnight Sun. The single. You can check all of this out. Every single thing. Fresh Roots Music. Fresh like groceries. Roots like culture. Music.com. Hired Gun. Peace.